This is the introduction to song number 4. And before I go into it, I'll give you a quick review of everything that's happened before. So song 1 was at the very early primordial state of humanity's journey. Humanity's umbilically connected to Mother Earth. This is before language, before thought. Then the next stage, song 2, is humanity begins to nucleate its own identity, but we're still connected to Mother Earth and nature. And then by song 3, humanity's identity has bloomed as individuality. And then this is where language and thought and perception of reality and consciousness come in. And all of those things sort of drown out the connection and the heartbeat of Mother Earth, which still exists there, but it's really hard for us to hear above our thinking. And so in this stage, in song 3, where human identity is blooming, the question is, when a flower blooms, what happens next? Well, it gets inseminated on and impregnated, and eventually a fruit is produced. And that is what song 4 is. Song 4 is about humanity being impregnated with technology. Now, before I talk about song 4, I'll talk about the song/dance for the transition from song 3 to song 4. And let me actually play it so you can hear it in the background, because there's actually not a lot of dance to it. So basically, I recorded all these sounds that you'll hear at Sona Crescendo on my birthday several years ago. And I chose my birthday because it represents my individuality. And this is when I went to visit my second master tree at BU, which is where I did my undergrad. All of these sounds I recorded while in transit, in the subway, or waiting at the crosswalk. And it represents humanity's transition into being integrated with technology. And I really like the crosswalk's weight, which you're going to hear in a second. Because it represents humanity's need to wait and really understand and think deeply about the trajectory of our collective destiny. I mean, where are we going? What makes us happy and content? Is it technology? When is technology going to help us? And when is it going to hurt us? And what will our relationship be with our animality, our humanity, and our technology in the future? Now, for the dance portion of this, because it's a very quick thing, all you're doing is you're facing the Spirit Phallus, which I'll describe in a second. And you don't really do much, you're just waiting. And it's sort of like foreplay, you wait and building up the anticipation for the main event, which is the impregnation portion. So I'm going to describe where the wood for the Spirit Phallus comes from. And so we're outside, and this is my front yard. Here's my house. This is the house of my neighbor. This is my garden of biodiversity. This is the former master tree number 3. This is actually the master tree number 1. There are my bees right over there. And basically, the Spirit Phallus comes from a hemlock tree that used to be right over there. It was very tall, and sadly, it passed away and was cut down. And then I chainsawed it and brought it into my basement. In fact, for a full summer, I worked outside in my garden of biodiversity, just carving it. Here I am in my basement, ready to do the world premiere of the Spirit Phallus. Okay, and so here it go, and here it is, and it's taken me a very long time to make this. Now, the first thing I want you to notice before anything else is just the number of holes. So now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's an implicit one, above the head over there. And so those 7 represent the chakras. And I thought that I would put those in, why not? So now if we look at it in closer detail, you can see this top part here represents the head, sanded on the side. These 2 pieces represent the lungs. This is like a hole. And this represents the stomach. These 2 represent, ovaries or testicles. And then this represents the legs right over here. And here you can see that the Spirit Phallus itself has a phallus. Now, what I'm eventually going to do is fill these all up with my wooden sacred objects, such as this, and I use these for my rebirth ceremony. Okay, so Now, in the ceremony, just to remind you, in this song, what's going to happen is that this spirit phallus will be erected to represent that humanity is becoming impregnated with technology. But impregnation requires a second half. And where is that second half? So just to, again, remind you, the spirit phallus exists in the physical world. So the spirit vagina exists in the virtual world. And so now I'm going to reveal that. Okay, so here we are in the virtual world. And this is a virtual world that has been created by myself and my good friend David Frankel. So definitely check out his stuff. And this is in the game that we designed called Symbiosis Null. So I'm not going to reveal a lot because I want you to play it. But it does express some of the mythology of what we've been talking about. So, you know, this is basically the final stage of the game, and I'm going to just show you a bird's eye view of what the terrain, the ground looks like. And what you see over here, and this final level represents my subconscious. And so this is like a woman creature, you could say is the Mother Earth of my subconscious. And the spirit phallus, which exists in the physical world, essentially inseminates her who exists in the virtual world. And the child that arises is the augmented human. And this creature exists in both reality and this virtual world of technology. Song 4, it's about humanity becoming impregnated with technology. And as you just saw, basically what we're going to do is we're going to take that physical log, the spirit phallus, and we're going to erect it to represent the impregnation. And of course, there's a virtual component too, which will come later. Now, to compose the music for reproduction, what I did is I sampled myself pumping a bicycle pump. So it was like, and there's pumping action that's often involved in reproduction. What I also sampled was my washing machine, and that sort of represents the cyclic action of reproduction. And there are other thematic noises that are in there. I also have some electronic music that I composed to represent technology. Now, the dance is like very straightforward and simple, and it's motivated from my childhood when I used to watch my brother do karate, and he was very, very brilliant at it. And next I'm actually going to show you a clip of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the horse stance and basically just go ki, ki, you know, as the spirit phallus is being erected. Alright, so this is the instructional video for how to do the dance, and it's all centered around the horse stance. Now, I am not a karate master, so most likely this is going to be incorrect. But from what I remember watching my brother when I was a kid, is you just bring your feet, far apart. Ideally, you want to push this back. Like my brother was able to push this completely aligned with his body, which is pretty crazy. And he would bring it down So this would be like a 90-degree angle, and you keep your back straight. And then what you do is in this posture, you're gonna punch and go ki-ai. Now the way the punch works is you start off, I think, with your fingers pointing upward, and then you twist it like this, ki-ai, okay? So it's gonna be something like ki-ai, ki-ai, ki-ai. Okay, so here's the start of the music, and I'll probably say something like, assume possession. I'll be like, ready? And then I'll be like, ki-ai, 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 ki-ai. Like that. And in the actual martial arts, you don't bounce up and down, but I think in the dance, I will.